When we think of Vikings, images of fierce warriors, dragon-headed ships, and daring voyages often come to mind. We picture axes gleaming in the sun and settlements carved out of untamed lands. Yet beneath these romanticized tales lies a far darker reality, a hidden cost paid in human suffering. Every silver coin, every newly claimed farmstead came with a human price. And among the most tragic were the lives of the women captured in these raids. What fate awaited a woman who was pregnant when taken? The answer lies in a harsh calculus of ownership, law, and human exploitation. Death by fire on a beach might have been swift, but the system that awaited a pregnant captive was designed for prolonged torment, a horror that would ripple across generations. This story, buried for centuries, is now revealed through careful examination of historical records, archaeological evidence, and modern genetic research. Imagine the journey of a woman taken from her home on the coast of Scotland in the year 86. The island of Iona, a center of Christian learning, reverberates with prayer, but those sacred sounds are shattered by the thunder of foreign war horns. Dragon ships slice through the waves, and warriors storm the shore, armed with axes and brutality. Monks who resist are slaughtered instantly. 68 are slain at a place still remembered as Martyrs Bay. The survivors, men, women, and children, are rounded up, sorted like livestock. The old, the sick, those deemed useless, are left to die. The strong, the young, are selected for labor, their bodies now property, their lives measured in silver. For a pregnant woman, the nightmare has already begun. She becomes a thrall, a slave, and her child is considered part of her new value. Ownership transfers instantly. The man who killed her husband or father now holds dominion over her and her unborn child. The journey home is no refuge. Packed into a long ship with dozens of others, exposed to biting wind, salt spray, and relentless sun, her survival is precarious. Food and water are scant, and death is ever present. Miscarriage, disease, or exhaustion are common. For the captors, every life lost is a reduction in potential wealth. If she survives a voyage, she arrives at the market, Dublin, a hub of Norse trade founded in 841. Archaeology reveals bustling Viking settlements where captives were displayed, examined, and sold. Chains, bruises, and scars are scrutinized for strength, health, and temperament. The Irish annals tell of raids like the 821 attack on County Louth, which brought women to these markets. Once sold, her name, family, and past are erased. She becomes currency, traded in Arabic silver that flowed into Scandinavia through vast Viking networks. A healthy woman might fetch the price of a small farm. A pregnant woman is a complex transaction. The buyer risks 2 lives, but many still gamble on the profit. Her new existence is defined by labor and subjugation. Farms in Norway, Denmark, or Iceland hold a strict hierarchy. At the top, chieftains. Below, free farmers and warriors. And at the very bottom, thralls. The Gragas, the Icelandic law code from the 12th to 13th centuries, codifies this status. A thrall cannot own land, cannot marry freely, cannot testify in court. Killing a thrall is treated as destroying property. Compensation is paid to the owner, not for the life lost. Her days are consumed by grinding grain, tending animals, spinning wool, weaving cloth, hours of ceaseless labor under harsh conditions. Sleep is on the cold floor near animals, while the master's family rests on raised platforms. Yet the worst oppression is over her own body. Norse law allowed masters to use female thralls as they pleased. The sagas, often silent on their suffering, occasionally mention women like Morka in the Laxdale saga, whose story highlights the ownership of a captive's body. Pregnancy only entrenches the cycle. Her womb produces another thrall. Her child belongs not to her, but to her master from birth, a living extension of the slave system. Birth brings danger, isolation, and vulnerability. The child may be sold. The mother has no say. This is psychological torment sustained over a lifetime, far worse than death in battle. Freedom existed only in rare exceptions. Manumission could occur, but for women and their children, it was almost impossible. Even if the master fathered a child with thrall, the offspring was still enslaved. Most families remained trapped in thraldom, passing condition down through generations. The sagas hint at fleeting hope, as with Thor in the Arabia saga, But such stories were extraordinary. Most endured unbroken cycles of bondage. Archaeology corroborates the written evidence. Skeletons from Viking Age sites in Gotland, Sweden, reveal non-local origins, signs of physical hardship and nutritional stress. Mass graves in England and Scandinavia tell of violence and displacement. Graves of foreign women in Denmark and Sweden reflect their capture and forced assimilation. The Viking slave trade extended far beyond local raids, reaching Slavic villages along the rivers of Eastern Europe and trading routes to Constantinople and Baghdad. Human captives are the most valuable commodity, supplementing trade in furs, amber, honey, and silver. Eyewitness accounts, such as the Arab diplomat Ibn Fadlan in 922, describe the chilling scale of female thrall use. Chieftains maintained dozens of women for service, labor, and sexual exploitation. Sacrificial deaths were acts of ownership, illustrating the absolute domination over their lives. For a pregnant thrall on a farm, the threat of ritual sacrifice might be rare, but the daily existence of forced labor, abuse, and separation from her child was a relentless torment. Modern science has revealed the full scope of this exploitation. A 2020 genomic study published in Nature sequenced ancient Viking-era DNA from across Europe and Greenland. The patterns are stark. While male Scandinavian DNA spread outward, female DNA from the British Isles, the Baltics, and southern Europe flowed predominantly into Scandinavia. This asymmetric gene flow is a lasting imprint of the slave trade. The children of captives born into bondage integrated genetically into the population, leaving a hidden but indelible legacy. The longships are gone. The raiders and chieftains are gone. But the traces of these women, their stolen lives and the children they bore, remain in the Scandinavian gene pool. Modern science uncovers what history books can only hint at. The system of Viking expansion was powered by human trafficking on a massive scale. Every haul, every silver coin, every settlement relied on it. The sagas give a story. The laws define it. The graves attest to it. And now, DNA confirms it. The suffering of countless women, especially those who were pregnant, echoes silently through the generations, written not on parchment or stone, but in the very code of life.